hasn't got a load of time, so we're going to start with the mighty Berks County, who appear to be putting on a bit of a title challenge. Is that fair, Ellis?
No, it's
Yes,
fine. Like,
yes.
it's So I think we haven't really spoken about it as a group. Like
everybody says that.
What could happen? We are just. It's so cliche, isn't it? Like one game at a time, and it was only when I saw in the FIB chat where someone was talking about when we'd last lost a game that we'd really even acknowledged it, because when you draw games, or I think we lost in the Berks and Bucks against Marlow, you sort of have those little down points in your, like, when you're managing in your head, and maybe as a player, I imagine it's the same. Like you have you like, oh, we won when we won. Oh, okay, we drew, and we won 1-1. Oh, okay, we lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we're sort of managing expectations. We are just here to win the next game and just keep doing that. We work really hard, and all the players work really hard, and it will be a shame if we can't get closer, because I think that's what we want to essentially do, is just get closer. You know, like, can we get closer to Amersham? We lost. We've had two big blows over the course of the start of this season. So Nick going to Knapp Hill early on in the season, I think, was a big blow, because we'd sort of found another goal scorer, and then we've just lost Luke to hairline fracture in his leg. So that's another big blow, and so you can't think too much, like too far ahead in the future, because, do you know what I mean? Those sorts of things will happen. Tuesday night, for example, we played against Yateley, and we had 5 players missing through injury or work, and we've replaced them with another 5 players that came in and did brilliantly. And you look at literally at the next game and who we've got available and who's injured or who's got work, and that's kind of how non-league at Step 6 works. You know, you don't get the luxuries of having players on contracts or players being paid big money and missing work to get to games. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of how it works, and we've put ourselves in a brilliant position, but we're not getting too ahead of ourselves.
Before I open it up to the floor to grill you as well, Ellis,
it's fine. It's all good.
You said to me yesterday, have you seen who Amersham have got to play? Because obviously you beat them on Saturday. I hadn't. I've only just done it now. But it's not a kind fixture list, and there's still a lot of games to go.
There's so many games to go, and but equally, they've put themselves in a brilliant position, right? Like, they're in a really good position. They're obviously putting a lot of resource into it, which is fair and all good. But they've got to play some really hard teams. Like, we've just come away from a draw with Eversley. They were brilliant at their place, robust, hard to break down. Yateley on Tuesday night was equally as tough. We took our chances, and they didn't quite take theirs. And there's other teams in and around it, like Rising Ballers came to us a few months ago. Well, just over a month ago. The game was called off because of an injury, but they were very, very good. You know, like Langley are very, very good, and don't write off anyone in this division. Like Woodley away is going to be a tough game for us. We've got that coming up. Like, everyone in this division can beat each other, and just can't forget that when you go out, because we've gone into games, specifically last season more than this season. I think we've got better at it. We've gone into games going, oh, okay, well, we're in a really good position. We're playing bottom of the league, but it means nothing in this division, because you can sign someone, you know, a couple of days before, and your team looks completely different. So yeah.
Open it out to the floor if you'd like to, one at a time, ask a question or two.
Dan, you can go first. Yeah, just to touch on the league. Obviously, you said Amersham have got themselves in a great position. They've lost 2-3 on the bounce if you include the cup game. They're actually at home to Yateley on Saturday, so that's got to be playing on their mind. Obviously, Yateley are looking to bounce back after their defeat to yourselves, but Amersham need those points to keep that gap, especially when you've got a game in hand. So I guess, as we did touch on, the importance of Amersham's fixtures are almost as important as yours going into it. So yeah, not much of a question, more of a statement.
But as I say, mate, like, if you look at Yateley, and we went to their place, and they you get sort of different teams at this level. So like Yateley are a young team that have all come up through the leagues together or been together for a long time. They reminded me, and we were chatting about the other week internally, but they remind me of Eversley's team when they went in and got into the playoffs, not last season, the season before. A team that have been together for a long time. They're so hard to break down. They're very, very robust. Their communication is good. They're obviously well coached. I back Yateley to make life difficult for them. Like, they're a good side. They played some really good football at our place on Tuesday night.
Neil.
Yeah, I guess my question is probably a bit more of a philosophical one, really, Ellis. Would you have, hand on heart, expected to be in this position at the start of the season, at this stage of the season? Was that your targets, or was it a bit more modest?
After last season, we finished second, and I guess that there's a couple of fronts to look at it. So last season we finished second, and we got into in doing so, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we played against Langley in the semi-final, and we had probably 3 or 4 injuries for that game. The league got extended, and it got extended to when it was Simo's stag do. So 3 or 4 of us from that squad, including myself, were away for the last game of the season, be it Hillingdon Borough away, right? And then we all got back and played on the Tuesday night. And like I say, we had a very stretched squad. The goal for this season was to improve the squad so that we could handle injuries, handle people being on holiday or people having to work. And I think we've made really good progress in doing that. So that's an off the field thing, which me and Simo can manage. And we've done, like, personally, time wise is always going to be difficult. Like, he got married this year, I've had a baby, so like I feel like we've excelled in terms of like preparing ourselves for a playoff position. And then I was chatting the other day, like, the game against Amersham, we labelled it a free hit. We labelled it an opportunity to go and show people what we're about and put ourselves up against a team that they're running away with the league, and the boys excelled in that. And before that game, I'd said to the players, look, at the end of the season, if we walk away in a playoff position, we're still in 2 cups. It'd be nice to play, get to a cup final. On our first season in the division, we did okay in the league, but we found out a few things about ourselves and players and the league itself. But we got to a cup final and played against London Lions, or on a sunny day in Windsor on the amazing pitch that they've got. And we had a good Vars run that year. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of look at it, the season, across like 4 or 5 different verticals. Like, can we do well player recruitment? Can we do well on the pitch in the league? But also we've got cup competitions that we don't want to just sort of like throw away as like gimmies. It gives us an opportunity to play players that haven't started in the previous couple of games, and want them to feel part of something competitive rather than, I'm just going to get some game time. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of our goal now, is push on as much as we can in the league. Absolutely. Do we feel like we'll catch Amersham? It'll be really, really tough. And we're sort of like banking on, if we are going to think that way, we're going to be banking on external factors that are outside of our control. So we'll focus on what we can, which is the next game, and thinking about these cup competitions and who can we make sure that we've got available for those cup competitions. Anyone we sign now. So we made 3 signings this week. Goalkeeper to replace Geordie, who's moving away. Nick, ironically, was cup tied for Knapp Hill because he played for us. So I think he can play for us against Bedfont. And Stacey will be cup tied because he played for Knapp Hill. So we kind of got to manage that situation. But it will give players like Josh Smith, who's coming back from injury, who hadn't played for over a year because of an injury at the very beginning of last season. He made his first start on Tuesday night, and we'll get another start on Tuesday next week. Ben Hall, we've got back. He'd had a long-term sort of like time out with injury and wasn't really getting himself into a position where he could play, and now he is. So he'll probably play on Tuesday night. So it's like, it's all fun. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.